this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're continuing our adventure at Pixar Pier, and we're going on a carousel. Have you been on the carousel at Pixar Pier? All of the horses that you would ride are actually not horses at all. You'll see from the photos that I have, some of them are super cute and fun, and you would expect nothing less from Disney, but yeah, we're going to do a layout today that is fairly simple and straightforward. So if you're a beginner, this is perfect. This will be great for you. So yeah, let's check it out and get started. All right, so here is my workspace for today. And you might recognize this page right here as the right side of the layout we did last time. And kind of the introduction to Pixar Pier and all of the fun things that are a part of this area of Disney California Adventure. And so today we're going to continue that with the first ride that we went on. My husband took a couple of my kids and went to go ride Guardians of the Galaxy, which we did the layouts for that already. And while they were doing that, the other two of our kids came with me, and we wandered around and finally found ourselves over in this area of the park. And we found a carousel, which we thought would be super fun. And you can see from these photos that the characters on the carousel are far from your average carousel horse. I'm not even sure what those are. They look sort of like rabbits, but in a way they look like kangaroos. I'm not really sure. Do you remember what these were that you guys were riding on? Oh, but you can see there's like a bird back here, and
hold on, let me look. I think one was a donkey on.
This one looks like a reindeer or a deer, maybe.
All I remember is I, being the biggest one in the picture, got the tiniest animal.
Right?
Which I felt was a grave injustice.
Kind of crazy.
I think it was a donkey and an armadillo.
This is an armadillo, the pink one?
I don't know. I have no idea. It might be a pig. Who knows?
Who knows?
All I know is he's right here in the photo as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is.
I think he's
maybe
an armadillo.
He is an armadillo.
See, I told you
That's so funny.
Look at how cute you look.
Oh, thanks.
That's me. If anybody wants to know.
I did not ride on the moving parts. I, as my daughter would call it, copped a squat right there on.
Pop to squat.
Oh, pop to squat right there on the bench, behind them actually. And so all these pictures from the front of them were taken because I got up and went around the front. And then this one Emily took. She's so much better at selfies than me. Okay, so these are the photos we're going to do today, and we're just going to, I think I mentioned last time that this layout we're going to do today is perfect for a beginner. So if you are just kind of orienting yourself to scrapbooking and what it is all about and still trying to kind of figure it out, I am going to help you out today with something that's kind of fairly simple, okay? So as a part of our, sorry, let me start again. As a part of the collections that Creative Memories has created specifically for theme park oriented photos, they have created these pages, but I believe these were from Imagine That. They're a little bit older than the Sparks of Magic, which we have in our current line. And I pulled these out because I thought they would be a fun alternative to many of the papers I've been using thus far that were kind of in the same color scheme with the black and the yellow and the gold. And so this one, because it says snapshot, smile, photo op, it's perfect for something fun like this type of a page. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this paper right in half. And I'm going to, because the words are going all different directions, it really doesn't matter which direction I cut this on, unless there's a specific word that I want to make sure I see a lot of, and I really don't see anything specific. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this at 6 inches, and we're going to use one on each side of the layout, and I'm just going to double check and make sure I cut that right in the middle, because I was using my little marker I have on the side here to make sure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this kind of blobby paper with the gold and the red and the black blobs. That's what they are. I don't know what else to call them. They're not really polka dots because they're not uniform. They're just kind of blobs. So we're going to cut 4 pieces of this paper at 1 inch. And so there's 1, and there's 2, and you may be curious, but I'm using the 1 inch mark that's on the right hand side of my trimmer, and the reason is so that the bulk of my paper is nestled against this shoulder down here. I can keep it nice and straight. I can make sure using my grid lines over here that it's nice and straight. So there's number 3, slide it through and do 1 more. Now, anything lower or smaller than 1 3/4 inches, I can measure on the right hand side and do it this way. And so this is the way that I generally prefer to do that. Now we could flip it over and we could do a couple of smaller pieces. Let's say we've got 1 inch here. We could do maybe a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch in the red. Let's do that. Let's do 3/4 of an inch. We'll do 4 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch in the red polka dot. So just a little bit smaller. And again, continuing to feed that paper through and measure on the right hand side, 3/4 of an inch. So there's 4 3/4 of an inch that are all done with that. We're going to set this one aside. I'm going to grab the 12-inch long piece of this gold with some chevrons on it, or it's got a grid on it as well. But I think I like the chevrons best. And I'm going to cut 4 1/2-inch pieces with this. Okay. So there's 1. And this is where being able to notice and keep your paper straight is going to be important, because this paper is smaller, so it can be a little bit more difficult to keep it where you want it. So just use your grid line and make sure that you are holding it to the grid line to keep that measurement consistent. And if your paper is shifting around and you're concerned about it because it's gotten little like mine, you can add a little repositionable adhesive on the back, and then it will stay right where you want it. Okay? So we're going to set those aside up there because we don't need them either. All right, so now we're going to play just a little bit and try to determine which way we want to do this the most. So my idea is I want to have the photo op paper going right through the middle horizontally, and you could conceivably go straight down the middle on either page as well. It just depends on how you like it best. But I'm going to take one of these 1-inch pieces and put on either side. Then I'm going to take a 3/4 inch piece and add it. Excuse me, my nose has suddenly decided it wants to run. And then, what?
You should catch it.
I should catch it. Thank you.
So helpful.
And then I'm going to put a yellow
on your screen.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
That could have been calamitous.
Calamitous. My monitor wanted to turn itself off. Okay, so this is one option we could do, and I like that. That's kind of what my original intention was. But we also could just play around with the order of our stripes and maybe do them in the opposite way, or with one on either side. So let's try one on either side. Just to see what it looks like. Come on. Okay, so we're gonna do like that, and put the red on the outside instead of the yellow. And down here, we're going to do things the opposite and put the dots on the outside, or the blobs. So it'll look like that. So, do we have a preference? Do you have anything that you think would work best? This is what I do when I'm not completely sure that my original idea is the best idea. And I
don't know about the black background, Mama.
You don't know about the black background?
Mm-mm.
This page?
Of both pages. The black border?
Oh, the black border is the black page that I'm scrapbooking on, so I can't really do anything about it unless I add more paper. I could add more paper.
The black is throwing me off. I don't know.
But it matches this, and it's in this print.
Oh, I suppose.
Also.
Are you going for a mini kind of feel?
Kind of. I don't know. There's just a lot of yellow and red in these pictures. A lot of red because we are wearing red t-shirts.
And our faces are a little red.
Our faces are a little red because it was hot. So, I don't know. What do you think? What do you like better? I think I like this one better, but I don't know if it's because it's uniform instead of these are being two different ones. Not that I would leave these both different. They would be the same. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think I like the dots on the outside. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, I like that more. What do you think? Sound off in the comments, everybody.
Yeah.
Are we insane?
Tell me if you think I should have done it differently, but I think I am going to go with this one. I like the red on the outside. I think it will probably be better.
Yeah, I like how it contrasts better.
Okay, we can do that. So we're going to flip them all around. We're going to go like this. Like that. Okay. There. Okay, I like that too. All right, so let's go ahead and get this adhered, and then we'll talk about the photos and how those are going to go down. All right, so with this, I've put adhesive on the back of this panel, and I've put my pages together with the intention of being able to line up this centerpiece to make sure, and then that way, even if you're just off slightly, at least both will be off on the same, like, it'll be the same on both sides. So even if you are off just a skosh, a tiny bit, it won't make that big of a difference. And I don't know if you noticed this or not, but these chevrons are all headed in the same direction. On this side, I have them headed towards the top of the page, so I want to make sure that they are headed in the same direction on this side of the page so that we're all going in the same direction. Your eye won't be frustrated with you. If you put them going the other direction, sometimes it messes with your perception of the page. You might not realize that that's what's messing with it, but you can help make everybody's day a little bit easier by making it all go the same way. All right. When I adhere a strip that is 3/4 of an inch or smaller, I would just put one piece of adhesive down the center about every couple of inches. When I do a piece that is 1 inch wide, you'll notice I put my adhesive going this way in 5 spots along the edge. That's just the way I prefer to do it. If you prefer to do it another way, you can, but just know that if you're using the Creative Memories adhesive, you can trust it to hold, and you really don't have to put adhesive all the way along your edge, all the way along your paper. If you do, you may feel more confident that way, and that's fine, but you could be conserving that adhesive and using it elsewhere because you really don't need it. So you see, I'm putting that adhesive in 5 spots, each end in the center and then halfway in between, or roughly. Okay, and as I line these up, I'm just making sure that they are right next to the strip that's ahead of it, essentially. And if you cut your paper nice and straight, it should lay down nice and cleanly and not have an issue. Occasionally I will have it buckle, but that's very rare that happens. All right, so there's our 2 pages ready to talk about pictures. And let's see. I have this strip, which is kind of cool, that has some castles on it, which I thought might be a fun thing to add in. And I also have these stickers, which just add a little bit of oomph, which maybe we could add in somewhere. Maybe not a whole strip, but just a portion of a strip. So something to think about as we consider our photos. All right, so I'm gonna put this one over here. In fact, we might even be able to do kind of a, let's see, I've got 5 photos, so I'm not gonna, I'm sorry, I'm thinking as I'm doing. So I have 2 horizontal and 3 vertical photos. So what we could do is we actually could do a I'm thinking while I'm talking. I need to just talk. Oh, I have 4 vertical photos. That's what was throwing me off. Sorry, guys. Okay, so what I was trying to say was we could put 3 vertical photos in a row and then do these stacked with one next to it. I think that's how I would prefer to do the layout. And I think we definitely need to mat, especially these over here, maybe not these over here, but we definitely need to mat these. And let's see, I would probably use red to mat them, either red or yellow, but probably red. And we need to trim these just a little so there's some separation in between. So let me grab my trimmer and some cardstock and we'll get that done. All right, so I have these 2 pieces of red CM cardstock, which I think will probably work best with the red that we have on our page. Let's go ahead and trim these photos just a smidge. I don't want to trim this one because I'll trim the girls' faces off, which would not be cool, right? So what I'm going to do, I know, rude. It would be rude. It just would be. Okay, so I'm going to take a 1/4 inch off of this one because I can do that without bothering anyone, right? I can take even just a tiny bit more, maybe a 1/4 inch off this side. And that's not gonna change my perception of that cute photo. But it will allow us to have that separation between all 3, because we can put these all the way out to the edge, or to the jeeping, and or even just slightly in from the jeeping, and we'll still end up with a little bit of an edge in between. So I think that'll work. That'll work. And then and then I'm going to go ahead and do a 4.5 4.5. If we do 4.5 by 6.5, then I'm going to need another piece of paper. If we do 4 by 6, then I have to trim the pictures. Let's do 4.5 by 6.5, and then I don't have to trim the pictures. I'll just get another piece of paper. So 4.5, and I'm just gonna guess at 6.5, which is about right there. That piece is extra. And we'll come back in here with another 4.5. And then, because I guessed, I'm gonna just put this on here so that I make sure these 2 match. Okay, so those 2 will be my horizontal photos. And then, that's not the right color. Isn't it funny? I find it really interesting. I remember my mom talking to me when I was a kid about all the different shades of red and how it was really difficult to match reds. Because, you know, when I was growing up, that was really important, and well-dressed people had clothes that went well together. Yeah. I was taught you don't wear stripes with prints. Polka dots were kind of ambiguous. Like they're polka Polka dots were the one thing that was kind of like in the middle of that.
They're Switzerland.
They're Switzerland.
Of patterns.
The Switzerland of patterns. That's right.
That's funny.
Isn't that funny? So when I see my daughter, you know, I have a daughter who's very into fashion, and when she first started mixing patterns and prints and stripes and different patterns together, I just was kind of, it was all I could do to not say, "Are you sure you want to go out that way?" You know, I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it's not my bag, and I've never been very good at it, so I don't presume to be any kind of authority on any of that. I just know that what my mom taught me when I was a kid, and clearly today's fashion doesn't follow those same rules. So her mom, I can remember her talking about my grandmother and how she would not wear white after Labor Day or before Memorial Day. That was a thing. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't, like, you were supposed to make sure your shoes matched your handbag and your hat and your gloves, if you were wearing gloves. Which kind of speaks to the whole generation of, you know, of that. But, you know, it kind of teaches us and shows us why that generation was so well dressed, because, you know, they had some really good rules, I think. Anyway. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the rest of these photos, and then we'll talk about embellishments. Alright, so as you can tell from looking at my mats for these photos, I measured my mats without measuring my photo prints. And the photo prints are a little small, because if they were a full 6 inches, then this border would be the same size as this border. But as I have been finding more and more, the prints that I'm getting are not a full 6 inches long. And so when you measure to create your mats, it is probably best if you measure your photo first and then just add twice as much of however wide of a border you want. So if you want an 1/8 of an inch border on the outside of your photo, then you would just add 1/4 of an inch. If you want a 1/4 inch border on the outside of your photo, then you need to add 1/2 an inch to the measurement, and then cut your mats as you will. All right, so let's see. I don't think we necessarily need the added little bits here. I think we've got enough. Let's just add some embellishing and call it good. Don't you think? We've got a lot going on here with all the polka dots and blobs, so I think that's gonna do it. Let's see. I'm gonna grab some embellishments here, and we will get her done, huh? Okay. One of these days I'm going to do something with this cool rickrack stuff that I saved, she says, with a hopeful note in her voice. And yes, Emily, I did say she. She keeps teasing me that I'm talking about myself in the third person.
You are. There
different. So these are some
too.
really
very
old.
observant.
They are very observant. Yes. My friends on YouTube are very observant. You are very right. Something about that made me read it, the best mom moments. Isn't that funny? I think that's funny. Okay. I don't know, I think I'm going to kind of avoid blue because we don't have any other blue in the patterns of the paper on this page. So I don't really want blue, I just want yellow. We could use the big cheese, which would be kind of cute. Hanging with my crew. Are you my crew, Emily?
Sure.
Sure.
Have been for 26 years.
Yes, you have been a part of my crew for 26 years. Indeed. That's cute. Heart. Cute heart.
You could put them together and make them look like a bow. If you find another one that looks like that.
Unfortunately, I don't have another one that looks like that, but I could kind of put that together like that. That'd be cute. I do have some glittery stars, but they're blue or silver. Probably need a what was I thinking of? I'll probably need a journal box of some kind. That's why I was looking at these things, so that we can note some of the fun stuff we did in association with this in the story. And where are we going to put the title for this? Maybe up here, maybe here. Probably here. That's what I'm thinking. Which means I need probably a journal box down here in this area. Kind of like so. I already have a hanging with my crew, so we'll put that away. Okay. Going to kind of adhere that. This embellishment from Imagine That has 2 layers. There's a foam square kind of in the middle of this one that kind of lifts it up. So I'm just adding that kind of between the layers. And then going to just add a few more foam squares around the edge of this. hanging with my crew. This one. I'm going to use this, the big cheese. Just kind of offset it on there. And then we'll stick half in a blast up there in the corner. Like that. And I'm going to just go ahead and adhere this one down without foam squares so that we can, so I can come back and add journaling to it. So it's just going to kind of sit down here. And then the title's going to go, my title's going to go up there, and I will add just another something to it when I put the title in. So when I do the flip through, when this album is done, take a look at that, because you'll be able to see the title finished and the added little bit of embellishment as well. All right, let me know what you think about this page. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Thanks so much for Emily's input on helping me figure out the order that these should go in. And almost don't need this piece of paper that's underneath here, but it does sort of tie it in with the other side, keeping it the same. And like I always say, it's more about the pictures than it is about the paper, so I'm not really worried about the fact that I covered it up. Thanks so much for joining me this time around, and check back in a couple days. We'll have another layout from Pixar Pier for you to take a look at. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day.